I'm going to show you today how to get your 2-octave major scales on your G row and your D row of your DG Melodeon. On the G row, I'm going to start on button 4 because this is a 4th button start. If yours is a 3rd button start, then you will start on the 3rd button down. So I'm ignoring the top 3 buttons on this row and on this row today. Starting here, if I press this button and push in, that's G, that's what's known as the root note of the scale of G major. If I press the same button and pull out, I've got the next note up in my scale, which is A. So far, G, A. If I drop to the next button and push in, I've got the note B. If I pull out, I've got C. So far, G, A, B, C. If I drop to the next button, I've got D pushing and E pulling. So those first 6 notes of the scale are very easy to find and understand because they're 6 notes in 3 convenient pairs. Push, pull. G, A, B, C, D, E. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. And you'll notice that the notes on the push were G, B and D. And if I play those 3 notes together, that's a chord of G major. So if you push the bellows and play the buttons, all of the notes will be found in the chord of G major on the G row, D major on the D row, apart from any weird accidentals you get on these top 2 buttons. So as I said, those 3 buttons, G, B, D, found in the G major chord. Now, so far, G, A, B, C, D, E. Now, if I press the next button and push, that's my G, okay? But we've lost a note in our scale. We've lost our F sharp, and that exists on that button on the pull. So on that button, to get your sequence, you have to go pull, push. So far, I'm just going to use one finger so you can see it clearly. So you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. Now if that F sharp had been on the push, of course that would have made the G on the pull and that would have messed up our lovely G major chord. So it's that odd 7th note, that F sharp in the case of G, that kind of throws things out. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So we know this note is G. Now, with the previous octave, down here we played the G and then we pulled and we got the next one up. But if we play this note and pull out, we've got the note before that, we've got the F sharp. So obviously we've got to go to the next button to get the next note in our scale, which is A. And we pull it and then we push in and we get the B, go to the next button, pull out, and we have the C, push in, we have the D, go to the next button, pull out, and we have the E. And if I play the button and push in, I've actually got the octave G. And again, we're missing our F sharp. Now this Melodeon is a 4th button start. And because of the amount of buttons I have, I don't have a button down here to house that F sharp note that I need. Some Melodeons have more buttons than this and you would be able to do it. On this one I can't, but there is a solution. If I go to the D row and press this last button pushing, that's F sharp, and then as I say, I come back to this G row and play that button pushing and I've got the G. So my top octave is a different setup to my lower octave, isn't it? I press this button, pushing the bellows, G, then I go to the next button down, pull out to get the A, push in to get the B, next button, pull out to get the C, push in to get the D, next button, pull out to get the E, go over to the D row, last button, push in to get the F sharp, come back to the original row, the G row, and play this last button pushing, and that's my top G. So I have and that is my 2-octave scale of G major. Similarly on the D row, remember 4th button start, so 4th button down, push gives me D, pull out gives me E, next button, push in gives me F sharp, pull out gives me G, next button, push in gives me A, pull out gives me B, and then go to the next button. If I push, I've got the D, the missing note is C sharp, and the way I get that note is by playing this button, pulling out, and then of course to complete the octave I play the button again and push in. That low octave is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. So as I said, the first 6 notes are in very convenient pairs: push, pull, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and of course if I play those notes, the ones that fall on the push, those are the 3 notes of my D major chord: D, F sharp and A. And the fly in the ointment is the 7th note of the scale, the C sharp, which I get on the pull. So the notes are D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. We're going to do the next octave up. We know this is D. On the push, if I were to pull that same button, that's no good because that's dropping back down to the C sharp, so we want to go up. So we're going to go to the next button, pull out. That gives me my E note, push in, I get the F sharp, go to the next button, pull out gives me the G, push in gives me the A, next button I pull out, gives me the B. If I push in, that's my top octave D. The missing C sharp note, that odd fly in the ointment 7th of the scale, is a C sharp. It's here on the last button pulling out, and then we step back to this button, push in, and we have the D. So the top octave, a completely different arrangement to the lower octave, is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. If you like, it's push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. Notice the pushing and pulling is the same with this row, and it would be with this row if I had, like I say, more buttons, then I could have got that top F sharp on this row, but as I didn't have that amount of buttons, so I had to get it on the D row. Listen to the pushing and pulling for the lower octave on the D row. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. So push, pull, push, pull, push, pull 3 times, and then pull, push. And up here we've got push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. Same arrangement of pulling and pushing, just on different buttons. So it's very confusing for a beginner, I think, and that's why I think most of us tend to play our early tunes in the lower octave, because we find the upper octave quite confusing when we've been so used to the lower octave. But hopefully that will explain it a bit better for you. Now we said earlier that the notes on the push are the notes that you find in the major chord of G there and D there. But what are the other notes? Well, let's just understand what the major chord notes are first of all. For G, B and D, those are the 1st, 3rd and 5th notes of the scale of G major. So G is the 1st, B is the 3rd, D is the 5th. We put those together, that's called a major triad, by the way. For the D major, D is the 1st, F sharp is the 3rd, A is the 5th. There's your D major triad, D, F sharp and A. Now, the notes on the pull are all the other notes. So they are the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th and the 7th. In the case of G major, those notes are A, C, E and F sharp. And in the case of D major, the notes on the pull are E, G, B and C sharp. And those notes are found on the 2nd, 4th, 6th and 7th degrees of the scale. Interesting to know, let's go back to the G and play those 4 buttons. Just take the top one off, just play these 3. That is a chord of A minor, A, C and E. And in the case of the D row, if I play those 4 buttons, take the little finger off, so I've only got 3. I've got E, G and B, and that's a chord of E minor. So a good way of remembering a couple of chords here, pushing on the G row you get G. If I play the 1st, 3rd and 5th notes of the scale. Starting on button 4 on this particular Melodeon, it might be button 3 on yours, play the 3 consecutive buttons, pushing, that's G major, pulling, it's an A minor chord. Do the same thing on the D row, pushing it's a D major chord, pulling it's an E minor chord. So G major, A minor, D major, E minor.